What's up everyone, Nitro here, back yet again with a brand new video. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at Devil Wears Prada 2. Now, Devil Wears Prada, if you don't know, came out in 2006. This movie is now 20 years old. Well, it's the first one is 20 years old. The second one literally just came out today. And not gonna lie, I literally just recently saw the first one on streaming a couple of weeks back, maybe like a week or 2 weeks or so ago. It was, I would say the first one is better than the second one. I like the pacing of the first one. I feel like there was just more to it. Talk about the pacing, speak about the second one now. Yeah, we'll get there. Not too well. But yeah, the second one, just like the first one, stars Meryl Streep as Miranda, the main boss lady type figure character. And then you have Anne Hathaway as Andy Sachs. Basically the main character of both movies. I mean, there's these four characters about name are the main characters, but Andy Sachs and Miranda are basically the two main leads. Then you have Emily Blunt, ironically playing a girl named Emily, which I find that too perfectly. I also find it funny. But yeah, it's perfect casting of an actress named Emily Blunt playing a character named Emily. And then you have Stanley Tucci playing Nigel, which in my opinion, I think Nigel is probably my favorite character in both movies. I think the way Stanley Tucci plays Nigel just has a good personality, like kind of like very straightforward, very blunt. Ironically, we have an actress in this movie named Emily Blunt, which is also pretty blunt. But yeah, straight to the point, pretty blunt, spot on, kind of quirky and a little bit more tad bit funny. That's basically Nigel. Also, he's bald, besides the point. But yeah, that's basically Nigel. He's very blunt, straight to the point, kind of quirky. But yeah, I just like how Stanley Tucci brings that character to life. He adds some pizzazz, some slang. Then you have Andy Sachs, played by Anne Hathaway. I think Anne Hathaway did a phenomenal job. The first one she does a stellar job in the second one as well. Meryl Streep, always good to have Meryl Streep. I think she's a pretty decent actress. I haven't seen most of her movies, I will say. I think probably Devil Wears Prada is the only Meryl Streep movie I've seen. But yeah, I don't know. It was okay. Like I said, basically a bunch of people got fired. Andy gets fired. I think at one point Miranda almost gets fired. A bunch of other people get fired. That leads to Andy now working for Miranda again at Runway, which ironically now Runway is a fashion website / content creation type gig. They make some content for people to scroll, probably some shorts, like some reels, and then you also have the Runway magazine being a Runway website now, which the website they showed it very, very briefly. I don't know why I'm even commenting on this. The website looked very bland. As a person who tried to do web design in HTML, I would have never hired that website artist. I would have never hired that. I never chose that design. It was a very bland website, especially for a fashion company. But yeah, you have the same jokes and bits kind of in this movie. Miranda obviously doesn't remember Andy. Andy is fangirling and obsessing over Miranda. Eventually they remember each other. You had a lot of new characters, bunch of guys that were low IQ, very dumb males. There wasn't dumb males in the first movie. They're pretty smart. Nate being Andy's boyfriend in the first movie, he was pretty smart. Even though he was not that likable of a character, he was still smart. But yeah, I know, a lot of dumb new males. One of them is like a nepotism. Yeah, just a nepotism male that got handed $1 million corporation business. This is a nepotism business person that is on his phone or AirPods half the time when he's on screen. So there's that. But yeah, there's a bunch of like random business movie meetings and business Janger and Jagger going on in this movie. Bunch of business, and on top of that, I want to say there was like 4 dinner scenes, but there was like 3 to 4 dinner scenes in this movie. Everyone in the dinner scene is standing around, awkwardly talking to each other, waiting for people to come up and forward the plot. But yeah, there was like 3 to 4 dinner scenes. Like, it got to the point of dinner scenes. I'm like, bro, how many dinner scenes are gonna be in this movie? I legitimately asked myself, legit, like, I almost got fed up with the pacing in the dinner scenes in this movie. I almost got fed up and went to the theater next door, the theater room next door, and I almost saw the Michael Jackson movie for 3 times. But then I found out that the Michael Jackson movie was a no-so, and it was just a blank screen with audio. So I went back to go watch Devil Wears Prada, and guess what? They were still in the dinner at the dinner table. They were still doing dinner scenes. I'm like, bro, why is majority of this movie dinner scenes? It's funny because at first I thought it was gonna be a rehashing of the second movie based on how the trailers played out. Played it. It just seemed like a rehash of the first movie. But yeah, no, it was not. And on top of that, the first movie, it was faster paced. Like you had Andy Sachs, the assistant character, running all over the place, bing-bonging back and forth, very fast-paced, trying to grab everything and get everything from Miranda and basically just do everything for her. You had none of that in this movie, and ironically, Andy, she had her assistant of her own in this movie. You saw her assistant like 2 times, maybe 3. Like, you don't really see Andy's assistant that much. It makes me question, why does Andy even have an assistant if you only see her assistant like 2 times in the movie? But yeah, I don't know, just her assistant doesn't really do anything besides follow her on Facebook, and that's about it. Which, again, why? Why do you have an actress, a character in this movie that just shows up to follow someone else on Facebook and then just kind of panders off to the distance and we don't ever see them again? I don't know. Man, I'm so glad I work at a movie theater and I get to see this movie and every other movie for free. Because if I did not see this movie for free, if I did not have the ability to see this movie for free, I would have never paid the price. Granted, my theater only starts off at $8, but still $8 is too expensive for this movie. I don't know. I would have catch it on streaming if it was on streaming, but again, it's only in theaters for now. Probably on streaming like 34 months part of Disney Plus, but yeah, I don't know. Again, I think the best part of this movie is the Lady Gaga concert. Randomly, I didn't even know Lady Gaga was in this movie. Granted, she shows up on the soundtrack 2 or 3 times, but I didn't know her showing up on the soundtrack 2 or 3 times to go put Lady Gaga in the movie. I'm glad she was, because Lady Gaga was probably the best part of the movie. Besides the pairings of Miranda and Andy Sachs, which happened a little bit, probably 3 to 4 times, but not that many times. But yeah, I don't know, just I'm glad Lady Gaga was in the movie too. It was a surprise. I liked the concert. That was a very surprise thing that it was a random Lady Gaga concert. Again, the soundtrack, I do have to mention the soundtrack. That was a pretty good soundtrack. Of course, you have Vogue from Madonna in the soundtrack. But yeah, the soundtrack was good. Lady Gaga was a surprise. Majority of the plot was just slow pacing and just really boring. It was just a boring movie in my opinion. I don't know. I wish they did a little bit more. That's about it. Basically, just Andy Sachs lost her job at a journal company, and then she really needed a new career and got hired by Stanley Tucci and Runway again and saved Miranda because Miranda was going through a PR nightmare. But besides that, that's basically the movie. And you just have random business plots out of nowhere, business meetings, which again, boring. I use business meetings for bathroom breaks. A lot of dumb mails. But yeah, that's about it. Again, I would have saw this movie on streaming if I didn't work at a theater and saw it for free. I definitely say I recommend basically rate the streaming unless you're just a really big fan of Meryl Streep and Hathaway, or is a big Devil Wears Prada fan that goes see it in theaters. But yeah, I would definitely say rate for streaming if you're not a huge fan of any of the actresses or just the brand in general. Yep, that's my opinions and thoughts on Devil Wears Prada 2. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Are you a huge fan of Devil Wears Prada, and are you looking forward to the second one, or have you already seen the second one? Whatever it is, put it down in the comments below, and I'll catch y'all later. Out!